Hello everyone. After a period of rest for the body and mind, surely the ardent fans of the Jujutsu Kaisen series are eagerly awaiting the exciting developments in Chapter 254. In the most tense situations, only a worthy opponent could stand up to the supreme power of the King of Curses, Sukuna, and that is none other than the author Gege Akutami himself. So, to grasp the situation in the next chapter, let's first recap some notable details from Chapter 253 before moving on to the events of Chapter 254. As you know, until now, the only sorcerer still standing on the Shinjuku battlefield is Kusakabe. Maki, after a few chapters of playing with Sukuna, was also sent flying off the battlefield by him. However, this time, we believe Maki will not die. Unlike the sorcerers before her, Maki is the only one who does not possess cursed energy when facing the King of Curses. Not only that, but she has also repeatedly struck him, forcing him to enter a super serious mode. But then, what has to happen will happen. Sukuna's power seems to have no limits against Gege's buff. In just a brief chapter, he has inflicted numerous life-threatening injuries on Maki, forcing her to leave this brutal battlefield. Why? It's not because Maki is too weak, she is strong. However, for Sukuna, being strong is not enough. For the first time, we see a story that doesn't buff whoever but instead buffs the strongest antagonist of the entire series. From the beginning of the chapter, a conversation between the strongest jutsu reveals that Kusakabe is worthy of being at the top of the rank 1 sorcerers. Furthermore, a new factor mentioned by Kusakabe named Usami will have what kind of power? And why haven't he appeared yet? Although the power of this mysterious person is still unknown, but since Gege has mentioned them, perhaps they will be a crucial element for the sorcerers to find a way to kill the King of Curses. On the other hand, we think Ino hasn't returned to meet his ancestors after the King of Curses strike. Until now, whenever Ino appears, he is always the first one to be beaten up by Sukuna. But each time Ino is also the first to wake up and continue the fight as if nothing happened. As for Kusakabe, with the recognition from both Gojo and Nanami, the sensei will surely not disappoint us. We predict that at least he will survive through one chapter when facing the King of Curses. Luckier, those healed by Shoko will return to save the sensei from the clutches of the King of Curses' death. In summary, Kusakabe's strength until now remains a secret yet to be revealed. That's why Gege has made Kusakabe the main character in this chapter. However, everyone understands that his strength is only enough to hold on, not to defeat the King of Curses. And so, hold on for whom? Hold on for what? After a period of rest, perhaps this is the time for Yuji Itadori to enter the battle with a more perfected reverse curse technique. Combined with his innate physical strength, Yuji has become a true main character, capable of facing Sukuna head-on. His progress since first encountering the King of Curses is undeniable. Moreover, with the question from Sukuna, between cursed techniques and physical abilities, which power is more worthy to cultivate, we believe Yuji will be the one to provide the answer through his own fighting abilities, because when he had lost all his trump cards after numerous confrontations with top-tier sorcerers, in the end, only his bare fists can resolve the conflict between two true men. And then, Yuji will have the advantage as a physical genius. Many say Jujutsu Kaisen is gradually falling into the rut of previous shonen series. The story until now may be a bit dull and no longer as appealing as it initially was. However, before the calm before the storm, this could also be a sign that the following events will be more exciting than ever. In the next chapter, how will Kusakabe buy time until Yuji enters the fray? Let's delve into the latest developments of Chapter 254 right now. The beginning of Chapter 254 shows Kusakabe facing the pressure emanating from the King of Curses' body. Almost when confronting the King of Curses, anyone could become frightened and start doubting their life philosophy. Without hesitation, Kusakabe immediately used the simple domain expansion to counter Sukuna. At the same time, the King of Curses realized his opponent's technique was meant to counter being thrown by the slashing strikes. Yes, in response, Kusakabe thought that the simple domain could withstand the sure hit effect, but it would not be able to nullify the opponent's technique. However, even though it's just the simple domain, a domain is still a domain. Not giving the sensei too much time to think, Sukuna immediately launched a slash towards Kusakabe. but the sensei easily deflected them with his sword. Kusakabe's cursed energy would be amplified within the domain, and Sukuna's techniques would also weaken when inside it. Kusakabe deduced that he could combine it with his base program to automatically block anything from entering the domain by natural reflex. Even the King of Curses had to admit the sensei's judgment and reflexes were not bad when he saw his godly reflexes. However, once again, the King of Curses did not want Kusakabe to steal his spotlight. He unleashed a slash that narrowly missed Kusakabe's face, but in an instant, Kusakabe swiftly swung his arm, deflecting the slash behind him. At the same time, Kusakabe was also startled to realize that Sukuna could now execute techniques without any movement. Immediately, the sensei also realized that the slashes that cut the world was rapidly approaching. Before he could do anything else, Gege inserted an important flashback scene of Mei Mei and Ui Ui camping together. In their conversation then, Mei Mei said, "In terms of speed, she and Nanami are superior to the sensei. However, Kusakabe is a more versatile and adaptable man. It's like if they had to choose someone to go to a deserted island with, they would always choose Kusakabe." At the same time, Nanami also stepped out of a car and commented, "He is a master swordsman with many extraordinary talents and can use domains with many variations. His ability to analyze and make judgments based on extensive knowledge of cursed techniques is also his strength." Next, Miwa cheerfully added from somewhere, "If my feet leave the ground, then my simple domain will also be dispelled." Gojo, seen choosing ice cream at a distant shop, quickly added, "He has many trump cards. He can use this simple domain which newcomers would need a binding vow to use, but he can deploy a wide domain without a vow." In this battle, Sukuna was on the defensive as Kusakabe began expanding the range of his simple domain. To comment on this case, Mei Mei previously shared that the simple domain has an integrated program that automatically blocks any attacks entering it. So when Kusakabe expands its range, Sukuna's attacks and counters will also be partially nullified when facing the strongest Grade 1 sorcerer. The sensei then did not disappoint as he unleashed a barrage of slashes on the King of Curses' body. Even Nanami had to affirm, "I don't know who can block all of Kusakabe's rapid attacks, except for Gojo when he has Limitless." Back to the fight, although he inflicted a lot of damage on Sukuna, Kusakabe's sword unexpectedly broke, startling him. He quickly used his robe to block Sukuna's view and immediately launched a flurry of attacks, knocking him back dozens of meters. Kusakabe then charged again, but suddenly asked himself, "No, why am I trying so hard?" The sensei realized that it was only because he owed Yaga's help, but Yaga was no longer here, so perhaps that's why Kusakabe had to try so hard until he achieved his goal. The dead cannot speak. I don't know what the deceased would say if they were still alive. Yaga would not scold me and would not allow me to meet his sister and Takeru, even if I did not fight to the point of risking my life. But he might be a little sad. Not because I didn't risk my life, but because he could no longer fight alongside me. Those were some of Kusakabe's thoughts during the life and death battle. At the same time, another flashback occurred when Gojo, Nanami, and Mei Mei all agreed that Kusakabe was a whiner. However, their true thoughts were that the sensei was actually the gentlest and kindest person they had ever met. The battle resumed shortly after. Holding the broken sword in his hand, Kusakabe immediately used a special new shadow style, causing another sharp metal blade to sprout from the sword and attack Sukuna. However, this time was different, as the King of Curses effortlessly caught the blade's tip with just 2 fingers and said, "You aimed for my injured heart?" This move was too predictable. As usual, when bored with the character who just appeared on the battlefield, Sukuna unleashed deadly slashes that left Kusakabe lying on the ground, his survival uncertain. Just a few seconds later, Ui Ui also immediately appeared, shouting Kusakabe. But Sukuna had already appeared behind the boy. As Ui Ui turned around in shock, Sukuna had already launched 3 lethal slashes. However, by fate's design, Miguel suddenly appeared to rescue the boy Ui Ui. "I don't know who this black-skinned man in front of me is," Sukuna asked. "What unfamiliar face is this?" The dark-skinned man replied, "You don't even know me? You island dwellers should broaden your minds." And that's everything that happened in the intense and exciting Chapter 254. Gege seems to have truly run out of ideas as the old motifs keep repeating in a dull manner. The loop of characters continuously jumping in to face Sukuna hasn't stopped. Is this Gege's intention or a sign of the series' failure? If Gege is prolonging the time for an explosive development, what could it be? Will Higurama and Yuta return, or will Gojo truly be revived? Moreover, will Miguel's appearance create a miracle, or will it just be another opportunity for Sukuna to showcase his power? And that's the entirety of the latest developments in Jujutsu Kaisen. What do you think about Miguel's appearance, and what do you think Gege is waiting for? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to support us. For now, goodbye, and see you again.